Are you a business owner, perhaps a real estate or insurance agent, a 1099 salesperson, or maybe a home-based business owner? If you're in the United States or Canada, I can show you how to increase your profitability dramatically and instantaneously through tax savings. And if you're not one of these business owners, I can show you why you'd be brain dead not to start one. Hi, my name is Sandy Botkin. I'm a CPA tax attorney and former trainer of IRS agents nationwide. And I'm here to tell you that what you don't know is costing you big bucks. In my opinion and experience, 95% of business owners greatly overpay their taxes every year. Why, you might ask? The reasons are simple: lack of knowledge about taxes and lack of easy tools to help you find deductions. You know, there are three things that you should know about saving money in your taxes. First, there are huge tax benefits available to you as a business owner, and I guarantee you aren't using even a fraction of them. The government has given you great tax deductions to help you succeed, and they're going to waste. Number two, the government has strict requirements for claiming deductions. There are also strict penalties if you're not documenting your deductions properly, and my guess is that most of you are not in compliance. But don't fret. That's why I made this video, to show you that you don't have to be scared. Which leads me to number three. There's an easy way and there's a hard way to document your deductions. And I only teach simple and easy. There's a myth that's only 7 words long, but it causes more people to lose money on their taxes than probably any other mistake. It is, quote unquote, my accountant takes care of my taxes. You know, a good accountant is only as good as the documentation you give them. If you don't document your deductions properly, they can't do anything for you. Do you realize that? Here is something important for you to know. There are really 2 tax systems in the U.S. and Canada. One is for job holders, and one is for job creators, otherwise known as business owners. The governments in both U.S. and Canada create great tax laws for businesses to help subsidize your business growth by giving them cash that you never have to pay back. Want proof? Here's a real live example. Meet Mary. Mary is your everyday citizen with a job and monthly expenses such as cell phone, mortgage, or rent payment. Car expenses like gas, oil changes, and repairs. She eats out at restaurants. She does a lot of entertainment such as movies, theaters. She likes to play golf. As an employee, Mary can only pay these expenses out of pocket. But if Mary owned her own business, even part-time from home, then portions of these expenses may become deductible if she's pursuing a profit and she documents them properly according to IRS and Canada Revenue Agent standards. You know, I want you to think of a deduction like the best rewards card ever. Any expense that is a legitimate business expense is like getting a 20 to 53% cash rebate. Deductions lower the tax you would owe at the end of the year, essentially giving you free money just for having a business and pursuing a profit. In fact, saving $10,000 in taxes is actually better than getting a $17,000 raise in your job. Want to know why? Because by the time you pay taxes on the $17,000, you actually end up with less than $10,000. The key to all this is following the rules, which in my experience, most business owners are not doing. Let me share just a few deductions with you. First of all, let's look at meals and entertainment. In both U.S. and Canada, you can write off 50% of your meals and entertainment and 50% of your friend's meal or entertainment if you pay for them. So let me ask you a question. Who are your potential clients? Or who could possibly give you referrals or new prospects? In most cases, everyone can potentially lead to new business, right? So if everyone is a potential source of business, can you ever go out to eat with someone and not have an opportunity to discuss business? No. If you're not writing off almost every meal, I want to suggest that you change the way you do business. But here's the catch. You have to write down the following information to qualify. 1, who did you meet with? What's their name? 2, specifically, why was it considered a business meal? For example, I asked for real estate referrals, and they gave me the name of Johnny Appleseed. 3, what type of expense? For example, meals or entertainment or business gifts. 4, where? What was the name of the restaurant or establishment? Or if you entertained at home, you put home. 5, when? What was the date of the entertainment? And 6, and finally, how much was the expense? For those of you who use accounting software or just use credit card or bank statements at the end of the year, did you write down the extra information that doesn't show up in your bank statements? Bet not. If not, then you could potentially lose every one of these deductions and get hit with up to a 75% civil fraud penalty if you get audited. With the government, you are considered guilty until proven innocent. And if you get audited, guess who has the burden of proof for your innocence? You do. But don't worry, I will show you how to totally comply with IRS and Canada Revenue Agent requirements in less than 2 minutes a day. Next tip, your car. How would you like to get the equivalent of free gas? I'm not joking. Let me show you how. There are a couple ways to deduct your car for business. I will go over just one of the methods. In the U.S., you get 56.5 cents a mile deduction for every mile you drive for business. If you're paying $3.50 per gallon and you get 20 miles per gallon, then it costs you $3.50 to drive that 20 miles. See that? Assuming you drive 20 miles for business reasons at 56.5 cents per mile, this equates to a deduction of $11.30. Now, we take that deduction and multiply it by the average tax rate of 33% that we pay in the United States and Canada, and we get a total cash savings of $3.72 on that $11.30 deduction. If you paid $3.50 for gas, but you get $3.72 savings, didn't you just make 22 cents on your gas? Do the math. In reality, with this method, you do not get to deduct other expenses like oil changes and gasoline purchases. Those types of expenses are built into the government rate. But you can see it's extremely valuable to write off your mileage. Now for the requirements. In order to claim a deduction, you have to prove your mileage for each business trip. Business owners have been told by their accountant to keep a clipboard in their vehicle and write down the beginning and ending odometer readings, as well as a description of the business purpose for each business stop. And if you're like most people, you probably guess at the end of the year. But you know what? Guessing doesn't cut it. If you were audited, you would likely lose those deductions and have to pay them back along with penalties. I will show you a simple, fast, and easy way to turn your car into a tax-deductible gold mine at the end of this video. But first, let's talk about a home office. I don't know if you know this, in 1999, Congress liberalized the home office rules, and if you're eligible for a home office and you don't claim them, then you are crazy. Let me go through an example. Let's say that you have a home that you use 20% of the square footage exclusively for business. It could be more, it could be less, I'm just picking a number. This means that 20% of your rent payment or 20% of your interest portion of your mortgage can be deducted as a business expense. In addition, 20% of your maid service, utilities, repairs, phone service, security systems, and many other expenses associated with your home could also be deducted. Now come the requirements. You must prove that a certain portion of your home is used exclusively for business. Now, how do you do that? Simple. You take a measurement of the space used for your business, and then you take a picture of that exclusive space being used for business. There are a few other requirements, like it must be your principal place of business, etc. So make sure to talk to your accountant about them. Now let's go back and look at Mary as an example. Let's assume that Mary is in the 33% tax bracket, which is the average in the United States. So there's a good chance that this fits you as well. Let's assume that Mary used her cell phone 90% for business purposes, and her total bill is $120 a month. That means she gets a deduction of $108. Now let's assume she has an exclusive office that she uses 20% of the square footage for her home. If her mortgage payment or rent payment is $2,000, that means she gets a monthly deduction of $400, which is 20% of $2,000. We'll assume utilities are $400. Multiplied by 20% means a deduction of $80. If Mary spends $200 a month on eating out, she can successfully turn those into business meetings, which means she gets a 50% deduction of $100 a month. The same would go for fun entertainment. At $200 a month, that would equal a $100 deduction, because in both US and Canada, you can deduct 50% of your meals and entertainment. If Mary drove 200 miles per month, that's 7 miles a day, at a deduction rate of 56.5 cents a mile per deduction, that's a deduction of $113. Now remember, a deduction is not cash. So let's multiply the total deductions by the average of 33% tax brackets, and these 6 deductions, documented properly, create a tax savings, a cash savings on taxes of $297.33 each month. Now, multiply that by 12 months, and she is saving $3,600 per year when it comes to tax time. And I want to point out that these expenses were expenses that she were incurring regardless of her having a business. And there are many more deductions. We just discussed 6 of them. We're just barely scratching the surface of business tax benefits. What if I could save you in taxes in as little as 2 minutes a day, thousands of dollars a year? I told you there was an easy and a hard way to track your deductions. I want to introduce you to a tool named TAXBOT that is currently being used by tens of thousands of business owners. TAXBOT works on your iPhone, iPad, Android device, and web. Say goodbye to shoeboxes and receipts and mileage clipboards with the push of a button. One system allows you to track your expenses according to IRS and Canada Revenue Agent standards. Snap photos of receipts, store them online automatically, track your business mileage with a GPS in your smartphone or tablet. Link to your bank or credit card to find missed deductions, get short training videos like this from me, Sandy Botkin, and learn how to lower your taxes big time. And finally, we store all your records in the cloud so you never have to worry about losing your records or withstanding an audit.